All right, let's talk about what is, without a doubt, the single biggest decision you're going to make during your PhD. Seriously, it's bigger than your research topic, it's bigger than the university you choose, it's even bigger than your funding. We are talking about how to choose your advisor.
Wow. I mean, the stakes really could not be higher, right? That quote from a PhD student, it just says everything. Getting this wrong can be a career-altering, totally confidence-shattering experience. And that is exactly why we need to treat this whole process like a serious investigation.
Okay, so the first thing you absolutely have to get your head around is this. It's not a level playing field. Not at all. There's this built-in power dynamic that, really favors the professor and can leave you, the student, pretty vulnerable. Just knowing that, just acknowledging it, that's step one in protecting yourself.
In this quote, it really nails the intensity of it all. Think about it. The most intense relationship outside of marriage. This person is going to see you at your absolute best, and trust me, at your worst. They're the ones writing the recommendation letters that will literally shape your career. It is a huge commitment both professionally and personally that lasts for years. So, the big question is, how do you choose wisely?
You choose wisely by becoming an investigator. That's right. We're going to give you a framework, a 3-phase mission we're calling the advisor audit. Think of this as your playbook, your guide to gathering all the intel you need to make the right call.
So here's how it's going to work. Step 1, we hit the books, the public record. We call that the paper trail. Then we move on to the interview, but we're slipping the script and calling it the interrogation. And finally, the most critical part, getting that off-the-record intel from the inside source.
Okay, let's dive into Phase 1, the paper trail. This is your homework. Before you even think about sending an email or having a conversation, you're going to dig into the public record. What you're looking for here are patterns, clues, the breadcrumbs of their professional history.
So, when you're digging through this paper trail, you've got to prioritize what you're looking for. Yeah, of course, their funding history and publication record are important. But, and this is key, the single most critical piece of evidence is what happened to their former students. Where are they now? What jobs did they get?
Listen, if you take one thing away from this section, let it be this. A great advisor is a launch pad. Their job is to launch their students' careers. So here's your assignment. Get on LinkedIn. Look up the last 5, maybe 6 people who graduated from their lab. Are they in jobs you'd actually want? Or does it look like they struggled? Because their path, well, that's the clearest preview you're going to get of your own future.
Okay, homework's done. Now it's time for Phase 2, the interrogation. You're making direct contact. And I really want you to remember this. You are not just the one being interviewed. You are conducting an interview. You are evaluating them.
And this quote right here from Chris Gold at Stanford, this is the exact mindset you need to have. I love this idea of being an armchair anthropologist. You're studying the culture of this lab, this little tribe, to figure out one thing. Can I thrive here? So what do you ask?
All right, let's kick things off with the big one, supervisory style. You need to figure out, are they a micromanager who's going to be breathing down your neck every day? Or are they a total ghost who gives you all the freedom in the world but zero guidance? And look, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's all about what's right for you. But a mismatch in style, that's one of the top reasons students really struggle.
This next one is all about setting expectations. And let me tell you, a vague answer here is a massive red flag. If you ask about meetings or feedback and they just say something like, "Oh, we'll figure it out," run. That's a warning sign. You need to know if getting feedback on a chapter will take a week or if it's going to take 3 months. That one detail sets the pace for your entire PhD.
And this is so important for anyone doing a PhD today. Let's be real, a lot of us aren't going down that purely academic path anymore. So you have to know, does this advisor see a career in industry as a success or as a failure? If all their support is geared towards academia and that's not your plan, you're setting yourself up for a big conflict later on.
And that brings us to the final, and honestly, the most revealing phase of our investigation, the inside source. It's time to talk to the people on the ground, their current and former students. This is where you get the real story.
But getting that brutally honest feedback can be tricky. You have to remember, as this person on Reddit points out, current students are in a really tough spot. They have to be careful what they say. So you can't just walk in and ask, "So, is your advisor any good?" You got to be smarter, more tactical with your questions.
So here's some of those tactical questions. Instead of asking if the culture is good, ask what happens when an experiment fails. That tells you everything. And here's a great one. Ask for 2 things their advisor is really good at
and 2 things where they could improve. It's balanced, so you'll get a more honest answer. And please, whatever you do, try to get them on the phone for a quick chat. That's where the real unscripted conversation is going to happen.
Okay, and this right here is a non-negotiable, hard and fast rule. If a potential advisor will not let you speak to their students alone, if they insist on being in the room or on the call, you walk away. You just walk away. That is one of the biggest, brightest red flags you will ever see. End of story.
All right, you've done the work. You have your dossier of intelligence. Now it's time to put it all together, decode the red flags, analyze the patterns, and make the big decision. Do you move forward with this person, or do you abort the mission?
So first, let's ground this in some data, because it's pretty eye-opening. Research shows there are basically 3 main types of advisors. Now the good news is, just over half are considered supportive. But flip that coin, that means nearly half are not. And your whole mission here has been to figure out which one of these types you're dealing with.
And the difference between them couldn't be more stark. A supportive advisor, they're like a good coach. They create opportunities, they help you grow. An unsupportive one, on the other hand, is either totally checked out and disengaged, or even worse, they actively get in the way of your progress, often by creating a really toxic environment.
So think of this as your final checklist, your red flag decoder. If they take weeks to reply to an email, that's a huge communication breakdown. If you hear them gossiping about other students, that's a toxic attitude, and they'll do it to you next. If they discourage you from networking or collaborating, that's not mentorship, that's control. Every single one of these is a serious warning sign.
Look, after all the research, the questions, the phone calls, it all boils down to one final question. This person has an incredible amount of power over your PhD experience and your early career. So once you've done all the work, you've gathered your intel, you need to trust your data, but also trust your gut. And then you have to ask yourself, is this person a mentor who is going to build me up? Or are they just a boss who's going to hold me back?